Everyone ready?
This is the SEC Insider Hit. Presented by your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Go local. Go with a home team.
Oh, good morning. Welcome in. We are the Out of Bounds Show. And I want to tell you about what's happening this Saturday. Jackson Food and Wine Festival at the Mississippi Museum of Art. And there will be plenty of people that you have watched on the Food Network or Bravo, among other channels, that will be coming in to celebrate food and wine and beverage in the Jackson Metro. We're going to have Buddha Lowe on a little bit later in the day, which I'm excited about that. I think we're taping that at 11 a.m. He owns Marky's Caviar in New York. And Ashley Shanti from Asheville, North Carolina, good hot fish. People have heard about that one forever. And Kat Cora, who we had on the show a long time ago. But Kat Cora's Kitchen, among many other things. But it's a who's who of chefs locally, regionally, and nationally coming in for this weekend, March 2nd, at the Mississippi Museum of Art. At the Mississippi Museum of Art. Jackson Food and Wine Festival. Get your tickets today. And boom. Okay, jacksonfoodandwine.com. Wow. All right, we're excited about it. Jason, we may let you in.
I'm looking. Is it sold out?
Yep, it just popped up that it's sold out.
Wow. Incredible. And I mean, even the general admission says like tastings for over 20 local and regional chefs, samplings of wine, beer, spirits.
So it says see you in 2025. Wow. I'm impressed. We talk about having, wanting really, really nice things. And then sometimes we don't show in the Jackson Metro for music and art and so on. People stepped up here. So it's going to be a party. And I'll be coming back from New Orleans, and I look forward to going. It's going to be awesome. Down at the Mississippi Museum of Art, Jackson Food and Wine Festival, and jacksonfoodandwine.com. That's JXN. So we'll have Buddha Lowe on a little bit later, and we'll drop that this week. Looking forward to that. He's a rock star in the culinary game. All right, Out of Bounds, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Speaking of rock stars, an hour from now, we're going to have Ron Slay, who played for Tennessee, SEC Player of the Year. He's now on the SEC Network. Does a great job. He'll stop by at 8:30, talk Mississippi State, and some of the other things happening within the league. MSU will play Kentucky Tuesday night at Humphrey Coliseum, and that's a 6 o'clock tip. Kentucky just smoked Alabama 115-92 over the weekend, and just ran Bama out of the building. And you know how good Bama's been throughout the year. So your SEC Insider Hit this morning is brought to you by Farm Bureau Insurance. Bundle your car and home and save with your local Farm Bureau Insurance agent. Go local, go with the home team, as Jake Mangum tells us, and that is favorites.com. And Ron Slay will join us on the Farm Bureau Insurance guest line at 8:30. I remember watching him play. He wore the headband. And so he had kind of a 1970s look in the late 90s. And it was pretty awesome. He also came back from an ACL injury to dominate his senior year at Tennessee and become SEC Player of the Year. So it's a pretty awesome story. Now he's the dude. He's got a lot of personality and mojo on the SEC Network, and it was fun to watch him and Dari on Saturday night. It was a lot of fun if you were a Mississippi State fan to watch Josh Hubbard. How about Hub? He's trying to set a record for SEC Freshman of the Week, and he drops 32 points on LSU at LSU after LSU had beat South Carolina and Kentucky in back-to-back games.
Pretty incredible. Have we seen who's the last freshman at State or Ole Miss to be really good? I'm not saying comparing to Josh. I'm just saying who's the last, standout freshman for Ole Miss or Mississippi State? Because Ole Miss has always been, the guy he cooks on the roster for a couple of years and then shows out like Terrence Davis, Breon Tyree, Stephon
Terrence
Moody.
Davis developed into a great, just an unbelievable player, but it took a minute. It usually does take a minute in Starkville or Oxford. Q Weatherspoon was really good as a true freshman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Kind of came out of nowhere because it was supposed to be Malik. I'd have to think about Ole Miss for a second. There've been a couple, but who is Ole Miss's best freshman the last 15 years? I'm pretty sure AK had one. That showed up. Who was that little dude? Warren? That played point for AK. I think he was out of Florida. And then who else am I thinking about? I have to think that through.
I mean, Jarkel Joyner was good for Ole Miss, but Ole Miss hasn't. Like, that's what I'm looking whenever I see Josh. I'm like, wow, where did this guy come from? And, why did he stay in the state? Because it doesn't happen often, and I'm glad he did.
Well, because Mississippi State actually cares about basketball and has a history. And all his friend group went to Mississippi State. Like all of them. So, and he was going to state 100% till Ben Howland got fired. And Ole Miss came in. He committed and signed, but he didn't want to. That's not where he wanted to be. That's why it took him about 5 minutes once Kermit Davis Jr. was fired to go over to the Dogs.
Yeah, he got out quick. That's for sure. I wish he stayed though, man. I know that he originally wanted to go to Mississippi State, but if you had Matthew Morrell and Josh Hubbard on the same team, I think some things are catching on fire. I think Ole Miss wins the SEC. I think Ole Miss wins the Natty. Come on.
Well, yes, you do. All right, let's get into some Chris Jans audio. Okay, this is really good. Usually you don't get much from coaches, and Chris Jans was talking after the game, after they beat LSU, smoked LSU, ran them out of the building, took over, pulled away in the second half. I love the way they share the basketball, and they're really doing some good things like half-court offense, which I think has been a major red flag. Their half-court defense has been good since Jans got there, basically. Although it's like it's getting better, isn't it, as the year unfolds here? And I think not having to play DJ 30 minutes here down the stretch and keeping him at a nice number between 17 and 20, I think is good, depending on, where he is in his rehab back. But, Davis, Shaq playing better, and Hub leading the way. Cam Matthews is an absolute dude. And so they got some good things going. Their net ranking is 28th. And this is Chris Jans talking about playing for something this time of year.
It's a fun time of the year. I'm glad our program is a part of it. There's certainly a lot of basketball yet to be played, but they're meaningful games. I tell my guys, recently, listen, do you understand what's going on in college basketball? There are 100-plus teams that don't have a lot to play for right now. Can you imagine practicing in February like that? And it's no fun. And you guys should feel really good about where we're at. You should be motivated every day. And, let's try to, not leave anything on the plate as we go down the stretch.
He makes a good point. It's hard to go to practice this time of year, and you're already hurting. Everybody's beat up. You played a ton of games, and it's hard to go to practice and listen to a coach go through everything and really want, your best effort, and you're not playing for anything. Mm-hmm. That's not easy. So, and what are we at? 27 to 28 games. That's how many you played. 27 to 28 games in, and you're sitting there going, hold on. We're not going to March Madness, and we're probably not going to the NIT. What am I doing here? And they want us to come out here for 2 hours and get ready for X, Y, and Z game and get locked in.
Yeah, I was thinking about this yesterday, too. I mean, because Ole Miss obviously looks like an NIT team now. Is there still some juice in the tank? I mean, is this Alabama game just going to be a blowout for Ole Miss because it looks like they're not going to get in, or does Beard still have them
You're not pulling Alabama at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
They got smoked by Kentucky 115 to 92 on Saturday. You could tell in Nate Oates' post game, how upset he was. Basically said, we don't defend anybody. We just don't play defense. And in college basketball, when you give up that many in the first half, first of all, that was a major red flag. And the game was not as close as it looked, 115 to 92. But to give up 115 points in college basketball, you got to try. You really do.
That's seriously 115 points
against a Jekyll and Hyde Kentucky team. Now, are they starting to get going? Look, their net ranking is still really good. Okay. And we've talked about their talent, but they've been a little hit and miss. They had lost that 1-point game to LSU, but they beat Auburn and Bama last 2 out of 3, Jason. So now I want to talk about the all right. Ole Miss took the series. Mississippi State took the series. I'm not sold on either team, and there's a long way to go till you've still got a few more weekends until SEC play starts, and we'll see what happens. There was a lot of uproar Friday in Oxford and Saturday in Starkville when they lost, and that's just going to happen. It doesn't surprise me one bit that they're losing some games. You may find some mojo, maybe some guys emerge, and you actually have a pretty good club. It's a good club, but they're going to have to show me. I'm not looking at either one of these clubs and going, oh wow, I'm overly impressed.
Do you think a meltdown was just put on hold by both teams this weekend?
I do, and I think I do think that the meltdown is on hold. Yes, I do, and I think it's game on sooner than later. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's all about the mound. It's all about pitching. It's. I say that, and I know Mississippi State's not hitting, or not hitting at the level that you want. But still, as we go through, can you really make SEC teams swing and miss, or get outs on the mound, or punch outs, whatever? I don't know. I don't have a lot of. I think the focus is going to be football before we know it, and Mississippi State basketball going into March Madness. And again, net rankings, let me give them to you real quick. Mississippi State in basketball, 28th. Net rankings. Ole Miss, 75th. Kentucky, who Mississippi State plays Tuesday, 19th. So we'll see how that line looks tomorrow.
Yeah, good chance at another Q1 win. I mean, you think State's pretty safe now?
Boy, you don't ever know because of the all the automatic bids through the conference tournament. You still want to pile on here, and you have to win at home against South Carolina to wrap up the year,
or win at Texas A&M.
Well, you win at Texas A&M, you're in.
Okay.
Yeah. You win tomorrow night, you're in.
Yeah, first road win of the season came at a pretty good time.
What?
For the Dogs.
Well, they won at Missouri.
Right.
And they got a huge bump because they won by 20 plus. I heard.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. You got to win big. I think it's really 12 plus, but somebody had also told me 20 plus. The bottom line is if you're going to win on the road, you got to blow out a terrible team. Ole Miss still gets Missouri on the road, but Ole Miss would have to make an insane run to go from number 75 in the net rankings to a number that would fit. They've got an easier schedule down the stretch. Pat Forty just wrote Mississippi State's rugged finish, which started at LSU and Kentucky at home and at Auburn. But if you can steal one tomorrow night, you are in. And that would be a lot of fun. You want to stay away from the Tuesday, what is it, the Tuesday night game in Dayton that they played in last year against Jeff Capel and Pitt?
Mm-hmm.
Jeff Capel, underachieving his whole life, and then coaches a good game last year. We are the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone, brought to you by all our friends at Rick's Pro Truck, spray and bed liners, lift kits, tires and wheels, and everything else as far as accessorizing your truck, SUV, or Jeep. Rick's Pro Truck and Gluckstadt RPT, Rick's Pro Truck Flowwood RPT commercial. We just ordered some headlights for my son's 4Runner. So Rick's Pro Truck will take care of you. ricksprotruck.com. That's ricksprotruck.com. All right, let's switch gears for a second. NCAA 25. The players are getting $600.
Yeah.
And a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a pretty good deal.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, I get it if you're already, but also, what about you're making NIL? You're getting way more than $600.
Yeah. You're just getting enough money to hang out for a couple of weekends. The uproar on Twitter cracked me up because most of these players, I mean, the starting cornerback at Ole Miss and the Mississippi State starting linebacker, I mean, I don't mean to be mean, but that doesn't bring any muscle to the table. The overwhelming majority of these guys, even if like Quinn Ewers wanted to opt out, right? I mean, that's not gonna for a 17-year-old that wants to buy the game, 27-year-old, 47-year-old, especially my age that grew up with it, coming out of what, 1993. I don't think people realize there's not that much star power. Like, people just want to play the game. They'll figure it out.
Right.
And now you will have an opt-out of a player who's like kind of makes an ordeal out of it. But that's not going to deter people from getting the game.
No. Well, you know what people used to do anyways? They used to go to the computer and download rosters from all active college football teams and just plug it in.
Right. And there are people who will do that, and then they'll do like, what are they called? Avatars?
Right. Right. Create your own player sort of thing.
Yes. So now you're going to have brand ambassadors that will, like, they'll do NCAA 25 things in Starkville and Oxford and Tuscaloosa and College Station, where a player, and a lot of times it's not even going to be your star player because that guy's making a lot of money. So why would he spend 3 hours at Walmart in Starkville or Oxford? You know, Jackson Dart, Quinshon Judkins at Ohio State, Quinn Ewers. I mean, these guys are making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. They're not going to go. But the guy who's maybe the free safety, left guard, hey, you want to pay me a little bit of dough? I'll go sign for an afternoon at what? Hibbett? Who sells these games? Hibbett Sports, Walmart, whatever. GameStop.
Yeah. Hibbett Sports.
I mean, is there a Hibbett? I don't even know if that's still open.
I don't know if it's still open either. But I get it. I mean, you could see maybe someone like Caden Prescorn or Jordan Watkins for Ole Miss, stepping out, or maybe, for Mississippi State last season would have been like Jet Johnson. And, people that like the local fans know, but on a national scale, not many people do. Yeah. So, but I mean, still $600 and it's like a time capsule. You're in a game for forever.
Right. So if you're smart, you realize I don't have a lot of value.
Mm-hmm.
The overwhelming majority of players are already getting overpaid in NIL. Okay.
No doubt.
And then there's a lot of teams that are paying a lot of money at positions that are devalued in the first place, where you can pick up an athlete without a lot of hustle and bustle. And so I don't have a lot of value. $600 is awesome, and I get the game. And like you said, I'm in it forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell my buddies at my engagement party
right.
8 years from now, which you went to 3 of them over the weekend, which just sounds amazing. You should have blogged about it.
I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm okay. I was too busy, keeping up the small talk at the engagement parties to whip out the phone.
Did you have to wear a tie?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I didn't go tie. I didn't even go jacket. I went kind of casual. I went, just long sleeve button down and then some nice shoes. But then I got drawn into a conversation about, they found out that I was, on the Out of Bounds show, and then Ole Miss and Mississippi State sports. I'm sure you've been pulled into a lot of those.
That's never happened to me.
Yeah, I was about to say. I'm sure you've been pulled into a couple.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're living off the Out of Bounds coattails at engagement parties. So there were Rebs and Dogs there?
Yeah, there were Rebs and Dogs. Also, like we were talking about, there's a lot of college players who are great players, great talent. After college, there's just not a room for them in the NFL, and so they end up doing another job or something. But imagine if you're still in the game and you get to show your kids, say you've been a CPA for the last 20 years.
Right.
But your kids get to play a game with you in it. Pretty wild. I mean,
I think that's pretty awesome.
I don't understand.
Or your buddies. Your buddies get to play a game. I think that's cool.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
So if you're a 21-year-old right now in the SEC and you get sick, by the way, we're talking about, is it PlayStation 5?
Yeah, PlayStation 5, Xbox.
NCAA 25 coming back out. I think it's 6.8 million they're going to dole out at 600, roughly, at $600 per player.
Right.
Is that right?
It's around there.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's round up. $7 million, $600 a player, plus you get a game. We will have a couple of opt-outs, but for the most part, people are going to be like, send me a check.
Oh, yeah. Do you think it'll even matter, say, a Heisman 1 year opts out?
No.
I don't think it will. Yeah.
I don't think there's a starting quarterback in the SEC that matters enough, or nationally. And now Quinn Ewers is technically in the SEC.
Right.
He's a huge name.
Yeah.
If he opted out, it's the sales for, well, you download it. You don't even go anywhere to get it anymore, right? So you download the game. I guess there are still people that go and buy it.
Right.
But you download it on your computer. So the whole setting up at Walmart or GameStop to me is interesting. But I do think that you'll have some of that just because it'll be kind of a cool factor for some people. Maybe to go get an autograph of your starting linebacker, tight end or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, say your friends or family friends with somebody who's a big player right now in the SEC, Big Ten, James Franklin or something, and you want him to sign your new game. That's cool too. But I don't understand why people are getting upset about this. Like why some people are saying it's not enough money for a college athlete.
It's more than enough.
They're still getting school.
Well, it's just the point is most of them don't, most of them don't bring that much value to the table. They don't.
Right.
Especially street retail value as far as moving stuff, tires, cars, whatever it is you're talking about. So we'll keep an eye on that. $600 per player for Ole Miss and Mississippi State. That's a couple of weekends.
No doubt. Come on,
$300 for a weekend, $300 for a weekend. You can have a large, or spend it all in one weekend.
Yeah, do a little staycation. Go to the Golden Moon.
Staycation. Yeah, go to the Golden Moon. Okay, I like that. Oh, speaking of, bet 50, play 30. Golden Moon Casino Sportsbook and Lounge. Bet $50. Play award-winning Dancing Rabbit Golf Club for $30. That's it? I was going to drop some more audio. Ron Slay with the SEC Network, talking some hoops. Mississippi State is on a roll. They now have an NCAA net ranking of number 28 after their win in Baton Rouge, blowout win in Baton Rouge over LSU. How good was Josh Hubbard? 32 points. Josh Hubbard out of Madison Ridgeland Academy, now with Mississippi State, 32 points against LSU. Unstoppable. Whether it was taking it to the rim and finishing or nailing three-pointers left and right. Mississippi State's on a roll. They host Kentucky. 6 o'clock Tuesday night, Humphrey Coliseum. We'll have Ron Slay with the SEC Network at 8:30.